Good morning, Gearing, and welcome back to GTV, your number one choice for student news. If anyone has been keeping up to date on the presidential candidates, you know that the primary elections are getting close. So GTV wanted to make this week's news segments focus on politics and the upcoming election. I know you're all dying to hear what Gearing thinks on the issues, so stick around. GTV starts now.
Gearing High School's newest news source, brought to you in high definition from GHS Studios in Gearing, Nebraska. This is GTV. Here is your anchor, Allie Baird.
Before we start on politics, reporter Brian Casterjohn has some information on the recent Pennies for Patients fundraiser. Take a look.
With it being a yearly tradition for over 5 years, Gearing has raised a lot of money for Pennies for Patients. Pennies for Patients is about donating for kids in need of support. We have Mr. Solomon here to explain to us more about the objective of Pennies for Patients.
Pennies for Patients is a project we started probably about 6 years ago, and they raise money for kids that are fighting cancer, and there's been kids in this community that have had that, and obviously it's a problem everywhere in the nation, so Student Council got behind it to raise money for them. Well, our school, we try and raise, if we can, about $500 a year or so, and then we donate that to, it goes to Omaha, and then all that money goes to help kids who are fighting cancer. Gearing's been donating probably at least 6 years that we've been doing this, and it's been a good project for the spring. We used to do fundraisers that only benefited ourselves, but that seemed kind of selfish, so we went out and did this one. I think the highest amount we've raised is maybe between $700 and $800. Normally we hit at least about 500, and this year I don't have a subtotal how far we are. Well, this year to add incentive, we're going to do 2 prizes. The class that raises the most cash, then we're going to do per student. So if you're a small class, you could still win based on the amount per student you have. And we're going to try and get them some breakfast burritos.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon and the Student Council, for giving us the opportunity to give to kids in need of financial support. Thanks to all the students who participated and gave. Back to you, Allie.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you to all of the staff and students who participated and made this year's fundraiser a success. Now, GTV understands that some students might not even know who's running for office right now. It's difficult to keep track when there's 8 Republican candidates still in the race. So reporter Brenna Tillman has the rundown on all of the Republican candidates. Take a look.
While some of you may not be politics people, the curiosity that comes with a new president taking charge in the White House still lingers. So today, GTV News is bringing you the stats as to who might just be the next president. For the Republican side of the polls, although Donald Trump seems highly unpopular with the general public, he holds a strong lead with an RCP average of 29.5, followed by Ted Cruz with an average of 21.0, and Marco Rubio holds a strong third place with an average of 17.8. Multiple potential candidates have recently suspended their campaign, such as Rand Paul, Mark Huckabee, and many more. There's plenty more to come pertaining to the election in the following weeks, so keep an eye out, because one of these people may very well become the next president of the United States.
Thanks, Brenna, for clarifying some of that. But maybe none of those candidates sounded right to you. If so, you might have better luck with the Democratic Party. Field reporter Rebecca Rawlings has the scoop on all 2 of the candidates. Check it out.
Democrats. Here's the quick facts. Hillary Clinton is a former Secretary of State from Illinois. She's had a spotty record in the past, mainly with her inbox and her husband, but she has the experience to do the job. Here's where she stands on the main issues. She's pro-choice, supports raising the minimum wage, supports Obamacare and free 2-year college. She fights climate change, is all for gay marriage, and supports the Iran nuclear deal. Senator from Vermont. He's technically an independent, very socialist, but seems to be popular with the younger generation. Here's the scoop. He's pro-choice, he wants to raise the minimum wage and equalize pay. Obamacare doesn't do enough. He supports free public colleges and universities. He fights climate change, supports gay marriage, and applauds the Iran nuclear deal. So these candidates seem pretty similar, but their biggest difference is in how they propose to fight ISIS. Clinton thinks that we should train Syrian rebels and maintain troops on the ground, But Sanders thinks that the countries in the region should deal with ISIS and that we should have nothing to do with it. Now you know the basics. Democrats.
Thank you, Rebecca. So now that we have a better look at who could possibly be the new leader of our country, let's see where Gearing stands. Jake Hansen has the information from the recent survey that was conducted. Take a look.
Over the past few days, GTV has polled GHS students on what they think of the upcoming presidential elections. Overall, GHS students are mostly Republican, beating the Democrats by a large amount. Then we polled based on Republican or Democratic. And for the Republicans, people chose overwhelmingly Ben Carson, who won by a large majority over the other candidates. And democratically, Bernie Sanders beat Hillary Clinton in an almost landslide. And this is what GHS students think. And back to you, Allie.
Were you surprised by the results? How about the results on the issues? The question of whether we should have stricter gun control produced a result of 32.8% in favor and 67.2% against. Apparently, here in Nebraska, we like our guns. As for the legalization of marijuana, it was split pretty evenly, with 26.7% in favor, 39.7% against, and a vote of 33.6% for medical use only. As for abortion, Gearing stands about the same way we stand for our political parties, with 41.4% pro-choice and 58.6% pro-life. It was interesting to see these numbers as they came through the polls, but is Gearing in the majority for the upcoming election? Only time will tell. Nebraska will be voting on the Democratic primaries in March, and Republicans will vote sometime in May. For those seniors who will be 18, we encourage you to register to vote. After all, it's the only way your voice can be heard. Didn't get enough GTV this episode? Follow us on Twitter at GHS_GTV or visit our website, gearingtv.com. Catch up on past episodes, participate in our polls and questions, and you could be featured on our next episode. Thanks for watching. I'm Allie Baird, and we'll see you next time.